Shalom, Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and rule well, and salutations to all the Akim and all four corners of earth who's pushing the truth and sincerity. Shalom, Akim. My brothers put up this little poster right here on one of our group meet pages, and I just want to take this and elaborate on it because I remember the Gary Webb story, and you can find this story on YouTube. It's a very interesting story if you really want to check out one of the origins of the if you want to check down somebody who broke down the origins of the crack era in America, you need to check out Gary Webb. He was a news reporter for the San Jose Times, and he ran an article in the paper. And the article that he put out had so much information that, if I'm not mistaken, on a little documentary I seen a few years back, that he said he wanted to run it like 2 or 3 pages in the magazine, but they gave him only like a little page just to run the information he found. And the information he found was so profound, it had so much information in it that they really needed to be put into more than just one page, But at the end of the day, the CIA and the government, they needed to silence this man because of the information he knew was detrimental. So when he was talking about was the beginning of the crack, like I said, and those of us who are from that era know that crack rock just didn't end up in our backyards. It just didn't pop up in a pipe for our parents to hit it. And those things, this was a manufactured thing, and it came from an area, it came from somewhere. You needed test grounds, you needed scientists, you needed test dummies, you needed people to push this stuff upon the people. You had different players in this chess game, and everybody needed to play a role. So we're not confounded by Esau's tricks and his foolery that he does upon our people, man. Because if you fast forward to today, well, I'm gonna go back a little bit farther because not today, but a little few years ago, we were still getting slammed in jail for this heavy, and we were still the face of the drug war. But fast forward to today, and now Esau is the face of that drug war. He's the one out there on opioids, so the tables have been reversed upon him. But let me stick to what I've got right here. This guy Gary Webb, and let me read a little bit, and I'm going to bring some verses. Let me bring something up, because one thing about this place is they painted us as the bad guy, man. We were the addicts. We were the laughing stocks of this place. We were the ones on the corners. We were robbing. Our moms, dads, grandfathers, grannies were on this stuff, and if they weren't on it, they were selling it. It was a money-making scheme for America. If you want to watch how cities were born, watch Cocaine Cowboys and how Miami was born from the 80s into the 90s, with this stuff, whether it was cocaine or crack, mostly cocaine in Miami. But, once the crack came to the area, it adds on to it, to the Lord, because this drug derives from cocaine and becomes crack cocaine. So you need a chemist who knows how to break these things down. Even for it to be cocaine, you have to have a chemist. You cannot just go to the plant and pull the plant off and it comes cocaine. It's a process. You have to add different detergents and different acids to the thing in order to extract what you need to make the drug, and then you scrape it. It's a whole process, basically. And you have to have chemists and people who know how to do this stuff. So the government had all this, and they funded all this. He says, in 1996, Gary exposed how the CIA hired drug traffickers. The CIA hired drug traffickers and this is in 1996. And truthfully, they had been getting down. If you want to, it's going to go into the Nicaraguan government. They had something called the Contra affairs going on back then. And they even came up with the video game Contra. But they had the Contra affairs that were going on with Oliver North and Reagan. These guys, they caught up with Oliver North supposedly and put him on trial. He had probably just needed to be a fall guy, because these guys, it was a real big deep rabbit hole. So they needed somebody to put on trial, and he was probably the guy they put on, and he was just the face they didn't put on trial. Speaking of Oliver North, but all these guys tied into this to Gary Webb, but at some point or another, he exposed a lot of these guys. So he said to sell massive amounts of cocaine in the United States in order to raise retractable funds to finance a terrorist organization who were trying to overthrow the Nicaraguan government. That's why I said this. So this Contra affairs, you had around this time, not in '96, but a little bit before in the '80s, you had Central America was a hotbed. All the way once you leave Mexico, all the way down in Central America, because Mexico was still peaceful at this time in the '80s. You can speak to some of the brothers in the Marines in '83 and stuff. They went down Honduras and different parts in Central America, and they fought in different little skirmishes and stuff, man. These Contra affairs, man. When I was working at one of my jobs, one of the security guards, he fought in Honduras '83 Contra affairs. You also had civil wars going on in these areas, whether it be Nicaragua or Honduras or another one that I might have said Honduras, I think, had a major civil war. And a lot of their army members broke off into these gangs and these drug things and stuff. And so that's why down in Honduras, they had some of the top killers and stuff down there, because they were ex-paramilitaries and military soldiers. They were part of the higher up branches in the military. And they said once the government fell apart, they was like, hey, man, we need work. So these drug cartels came through and, and they jumped down with them. They had to eat. So he says, let me bring this out real fast because, give me 1 second. In a nutshell, that's America. That's what America's been nothing but a big hypocrite, saying something that she is not, saying something that he is not, man. The devil has came and said that he's for peace. He comes, he's here to help and this and that. He had these different wars going on in the '80s and the '90s, and put drugs upon us and have them thinking that these drugs just came out of nowhere. So this was a big hypocrite. America's been nothing but a big hypocrite, and its leaders played a major role in this hypocrite, in being a hypocrite, man. This John 10:10, the thief cometh not but to steal and to kill and to destroy, and that's what America and its elites and its Edomites have done, man. They planted these drugs in our neighborhoods, and we were test drives. The same. It's safe to say the same could be done with the jab nowadays. But that's another story. But I'm gonna stick to this. So, like I say, so these drugs that were put in our communities, we were nothing but test dummies. So the thief came was nothing but to steal and to kill. And so while they fed us all these drugs, our neighborhoods declined. And what they do, they came back and took these neighborhoods. Because we couldn't pay for these houses anymore. We couldn't pay for these apartments. They were all dilapidated, jacked up, and everything. So this is nothing but the devil. He came not but to steal and to kill, man. And he did a good job at it, man. And he says, the massive shipments of cocaine ultimately sparked the crack epidemic that declined inner cities during the 1990s. That's just what I spoke about. We went from the cocaine era to the crack era. So whole cities were being born. Miami, if you ever look at go back to the history of Florida from the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. This was nothing but old plantations and farming land. You come into the 80s, the cocaine era. You come into the 90s, the crack era. These areas built Miami up to what it is now. These areas built these different cities up to where they are now. You built this whole place off our back, whether it was blood or sweat, man. The sweat came off when we was on the plantations. The blood came off the drug trades, man. And still to this day, I was getting hung and jacked up, man. This is Ecclesiastes 10. This is Ecclesiastes 12:10. Never trust the enemy, for like his iron rusts, so is his wickedness, man. And this devil shows his wickedness, man. He done put drugs upon us, man, and tried to make it seem like he didn't do it. This is a big hypocrite, man. He put he turned our women into prostitutes because they had to whore themselves out to get these drugs. And then on top of that, they birth babies. So now from the 90s to the 2000s, you got a generation of fucking dopehead babies. That's why they're so fucking crazy right now. You got your Chief Keefs, your Little Dirks, the King Vons, these niggas out here killing and doing all this dumb shit. This is a trickle down effect, man. You know? This devil wants to point the finger every which way, but he ain't pointing the finger at himself. He'll never take the blame, man. That's his job, man. That's what the devil's job is, to deceive, man. He's a great deceiver. That's what the devil means, man. You know, a deceiver, man. He says, let me drop down. He says, this is Ecclesiastes 12, and I'm gonna start at 14. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity him, man? You know, and that's speaking to our people, man. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thy begin to fail, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit, man. He will weep with his eyes, but he will find opportunity. He will not be satisfied with blood, man. And this devil wasn't satisfied with blood. That's why he knocked down whole neighborhoods, man. It just said it in this article. He destroyed whole cities, man. And they came for generations of terror with these drugs, man. And he says, let me continue. He said, as a result, mainstream media vilified Gary Webb and destroyed his career, which also destroyed his marriage. But he refused to back down. In 2004, he was found dead with 2 bullet wounds to his head. His death was ruled a suicide. This man literally lost everything to give us a glimpse of the truth. Don't let his memory or what he stood for fade, man. You see how the devil got rid of him, man? This is what you would call a whistleblower, man. So the devil put 2 bullets in his head and called it suicide, man. The hypocrisy of this place, man. Once again, man, this is a lying society, man, and we're gonna expose this devil daily, man. He came but nothing but to spew out wickedness, man. You know. But yeah, man, I just wanted to bring this devil out, man, and bring out some verses. And this, you know, Gary Webb, you know, he lost his life exposing, you know, what really is going on. And this was back in he died he came out, he died in 2004, you know what I'm saying, but his information was out way before then, man. I'm not too sure if they got a book out. They probably do about him, man, about his life, man, but I'm not too sure. But with that being said, I hope this is edifying. Shalom, Maki.